Hi there, Plant Girl here. I thought I'd give you a little update on my salad in a basket. So you may recall seeing me in an earlier video where I put this little basket together with some lettuce greens, and I planted some pea seeds, and right in the front in the middle there's some beet greens. So I thought I'd give you a little update. It's a little fuller than it was on the day when I did this video for you. And that's because I've added a couple more containers of lettuce to it. But overall, it's doing really well, but we have some things that are doing better than others. So let's have a little bit of a closer look. So when I put this together, I had 2 things of Eucalyptus lettuce. They were growing in a small cell pack, and I just planted them up into some pots. So this is the one. And Eucalyptus is a heading lettuce. And as you can see, it's quite leggy and just not looking that great. I think I should have planted them just a little bit deeper down when I transferred them over than I did. So they're just not looking that great. There's the one. And here's the other one. You can see just kind of falling over and looking a little rough. They also have sand on top. I think some of the potting soil, one of the bags of potting soil that I had used for this, I think had a little bit of fungus gnat action going on in it. And so I just put some sand on top of the soil to try and help knock them back while I dealt with that. Because it's hard to reduce your watering with lettuces. They like fair amount of water. When I had transplanted those seedlings over, I had also started some more lettuce, and this I believe is red salad bowl. Yeah. So I had planted some of those into the tray where I took the Eucalyptus from, and then I've moved some of them up. So these are starting to have a good go here and starting to look pretty nice. They're about I don't know, 3 weeks behind the Eucalyptus. And I also have some prize head, and it's the same thing as the red salad bowl. It was planted later, but it's looking the best. It's a pretty fast growing lettuce, and it's doing really well. When I did up this basket, I planted some fresh packed beet seeds. Fresh pack is for more of a beet green, and that's what my plan was for these, was to get this for the greens. They have not done well in this situation. I've grown them many years outside. And I don't know if it's the temperature in the house, but I don't think that's it. They just maybe just don't like being packed, or because the sand's on top. I'm not sure if they're just planted too close together for this situation, or maybe they're not getting enough light because of the peas that we'll look at in a minute. But they're just not happy, and I think I'm just going to move them right out of this situation here. When I planted this, I also planted some pea shoots. I can't remember the variety. I don't know if I have it written on here. I think it says green sugar snap. And I just planted these not to get the shells and the pods, but to just get them for some greens, and that are really nice height now, where I'll cut them back and I can have some like pea shoot greens. So I'm really happy with how well these did. I should have left more space at the top. I wasn't thinking, because of course when peas grow, they always kind of push the soil way up, and these did that. So I don't know how well you can see, but it's quite mounded in the pot here. But other than that, they've done really well, and I'm really happy with them. So I haven't actually harvested anything out of this basket yet, and I'm going to do that today. So I'm going to start with these pea shoots here. So all I'm going to do is just kind of cut them back by about half, I'd say. So they have several sets of leaves now, and so as long as I leave a couple of sets of leaves, they should continue to grow after I've cut them. And these will be great for having in a salad. So I'm just going to cut those off, and then we'll move on to something else. So yeah, those have been cut back quite a bit now. Nice little dish of pea shoots there. And that should encourage these to just branch out and grow even more. So that won't be the last cut I do on those. So now let's just slide this out of the way a little bit. I should mention I did wind up moving the little liner tray that I have in here. I wound up kind of stacking another one underneath because the way I had the lighting set up under the counter, these things just didn't seem like they were getting enough light. So I just raised them up a few more inches to help with some light. And like I said, the eucalyptus is just looking a little bit sad. So I think I'm just going to trim these right off and just let them be done for now. Eucalyptus is a heading lettuce. It'll take a long time to form a head, and I wasn't really expecting it to form a head in the house. I was looking to get the leaves off of it, and I'm just gonna do that, and they'll be good. So there's one little bunch there. They feel nice and crisp, and there's the other little bunch. We're just starting to get into like our fourth or so true leaf off of the red salad bowl. It had a few that had come down earlier, but they dried out because this pot here, this basket was so full, and these pots are a bit smaller, so they weren't always getting down to the water. So I'm just going to leave this. I'm not going to take anything off of it right now because I think it needs more time to grow a bit more. So I'm just going to set it back in my basket and let it soak up the water and continue to grow. Now, this prize head is doing really well. It's really filled out, and I can definitely take some of the leaves off it. So I'll just go around the outside of the plant and take some of those outer leaves. It actually looks like I managed to get 2 plants of the prize head in the one pot, so no wonder it was really extra full. But it's cut back quite a bit now. I'll just leave the 2 plants. They seemed happy growing beside each other there. And I took quite a bit off, so it can just continue to sprout more leaves now and continue to fill in for me. Set it back in my basket there. So I've got quite a bowl here of greens going on. And we'll be having that for supper tonight. A nice salad. Like I said, these beet greens, I'm not sure if I should divide them out and put them in a larger pot, or what I should do. I think for today, for the next week, I might just set them under my grow lights, and maybe they just need more light and aren't getting what they need being in this basket with so many other things around them. And I'm just going to see what happens with them. Like, this was an experiment. I've never grown these indoors like this before for this purpose, but just wanted to give it a try. So I think I'm just going to set them on my shelf beside me here under the grow lights where they can just have a bit more space than they were getting in the basket, and see what happens. I have a few more pots of lettuce growing on my shelf. I had started them in like a little, I think a 9-pack of lettuce. That's where the other lettuce that were in the basket came from. And now I've potted them all up into their own pots as well, and they're just sitting under grow lights. So let's have a look at them. I have a Grand Rapids here. It's looking great. It's a fairly fast growing lettuce, and it's doing really well. I think I'll maybe take a couple of the outside leaves, like maybe 3 off of it, and I'll leave the rest to continue growing. So there it is, looking good. So this here is another prize head, and it would have been sown the same time as the one that I just trimmed. So you can see they're getting a little bit better lighting and maybe more consistent watering on my grow shelf here. They actually have a wicking mat underneath them, so they're getting really nice consistent watering instead of me just trying to fill up a kind of a flood of water for them, let them soak it up in the basket. So definitely looking a little healthier than the other one was. But again, I'm just going to take a few outside leaves. I should have brought a bigger bowl, but that's okay. So, a few outside leaves. We'll leave that to continue growing. This is a beautiful Stanford lettuce. It's looking really nice as well. You see that nice color on there. I think I'm just going to leave it to go and continue growing But it's growing really nice, and I think these leaves could get just a little bit bigger before I take any, and I certainly don't need any more right now. This is yet another prize head, and you can see it's getting some pretty big leaves on it, so I'm going to take those large outer leaves off of it. So there's some more. Definitely I'm going to need a bigger bowl for taking this back to the kitchen. But we're getting a really nice pile of greens here. And then the last one that I have on my grow shelf in my room here is early curled Simpson. And again, it's looking really good. Some nice big leaves, so I'm going to take those off and let it continue pushing out new. So I cut that back to about 1/3 the size that it was before, but it has enough good growth going on in the center that it should come back really nicely for me. So lettuce grows really well and very easily inside. From what I've seen, pea shoots going to do great as well. Even in fairly low light conditions, you can get quite a bit of greens going. So I'm going to get these little pots of lettuce that I have here that I just cut back under my grow shelf, and I'm going to show you one more thing that I can trim that I've been growing inside to add to my salad selection here. So the last thing I thought we could look at today is the onions. I planted these onion seeds about mid-January. You may have caught that video. And I've already trimmed them once, but they're really doing well now, and they've gotten quite long. And so I'm going to trim them back again, and I can add the trimmings into my salad as well. Or I could use them for cooking or whatever I wanted, but that's what I'm going to put them in today. So let's give these a little trim as well. And there's some there. A few of them still have their seed case attached. They probably sprouted after I had done my first trim, or they weren't up quite as high as the rest when I did my first trim. That's okay. They'll probably come off when I send the lettuce through the salad spinner, but if they don't, I'm not too worried about them. So there, onions are all trimmed and looking just a little less squiggly. Maybe one more here that was hanging down. Give that guy a trim, and then they'll be good. So they're going to go back under the lights on my grow shelf as well. So there's quite a bit here, and a few that I've dropped on the table yet. But I've got a pretty nice little salad going just from things I've been growing in my own house in the middle of winter. It's windy, it's freezing rain, and it's nasty outside, but I'm still able to harvest a salad. So just a little update on the things that I'm growing and what you're able to do in Saskatchewan in a cold winter to keep feeding your family. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. There's the onions back under the grow light. And there's those fresh packed beets. We'll just see what they do here under these lights. I think these lights here, I think they're Barrina grow lights. Might be a Manoir. I think they're a little stronger than the old T5 lights that I have in the kitchen that these were under. And there's the lettuces.